The master of the smallest gear in the world tells you to dream big, to chase the stars, and to conquer mountains. But what they do and tell you is that the weight of a mountain can crush a man before he even takes his first step. Most people are paralyzed, not because they lack ambition, but because they are suffocated by the scale of their own dreams. They look at the summit and forget to look at their feet. This is the story of Thomas, a young man in the heart of industrial London, who was drowning in his own greatness. Thomas wanted to build the world's grandest clock machine that would define time itself. He spent his nights sketching massive gears and giant pendulums, but his workshop was a graveyard of unfinished ideas. Every time he started, the sheer size of the task made his hands shake. He felt like a failure because he wasn't a master yet. One rainy evening, Thomas sought out Mr. Sterling, an old clockmaker whose tiny shop was hidden in a narrow alley. Sterling was known for making watches that never lost a second in 100 years. Thomas burst into the shop, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "Master," he cried, "I have the vision for the greatest clock in history, but I cannot finish it. Every time I begin, I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I am trying to swallow the ocean." Sterling didn't look up from his workbench. He was focusing on a screw so small it was barely visible to the naked eye. He picked it up with a pair of silver tweezers and polished it with a cloth. "Come back tomorrow," Sterling said quietly. "But before you leave, take this." He handed Thomas a single rusted brass gear, no bigger than a coin. "Your only task tonight is to make this one gear shine like gold. Nothing else." Thomas was insulted. "Master, I want to build a monument, and you give me a piece of junk." Sterling finally looked at him, his eyes like cold flint. "If you cannot master a single gear, you have no right to touch the stars. Go." Thomas went home, frustrated, tossed the gear on the table. But as the hours passed, he picked it up. He began to scrub the rust. He focused only on the curve of one tooth, then the next. For the first time in years, his mind was quiet. He wasn't thinking about the giant clock or the fame. He was only thinking about the brass. By dawn, the gear was perfect. It glowed with a soft inner light. He took it back to Sterling. The old man nodded and handed him another tiny part. "Now, do this one." Days turned into weeks. Every day, Thomas polished a screw, balanced a spring, or filed a lever. He stopped looking at his grand sketches, focused only on what was in his hands. He began to realize that a great clock is not a big thing. It is merely a collection of 1,000 small things that have been done perfectly. 1 year later, Thomas stood back from his workbench. Without realizing it, he had assembled the masterpiece he had always dreamed of. It ticked with a heartbeat so steady it felt alive. He hadn't built it by thinking big, he had built it by acting small. Mr. Sterling stood beside him, watching the silver hands move. "See, Thomas, the mountain is moved by the man who carries away small stones. Greatness is not a destination. It is the quality of your attention to the smallest detail in front of you. Do not seek to be great. Seek to be excellent in the next 10 minutes. The rest is just time passing by." Thomas realized that his anxiety was gone because he had stopped fighting the future and started mastering the present. He walked out into the London fog, finally understanding that to achieve the impossible, you must first respect the small. If you liked the story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.